we've just seen this guy hobbling next to the road. This is a big wedge-tailed eagle. This is Australia's largest species of eagle. Big bird of prey. These things are absolute weapons. They can get well over 2 metres, about 2.5 metres, I think, wingspan. They got these huge talons, pretty much the size of your pinky and thereabouts. Big, strong beak on him, an eyesight that is just insane. These things are soaring hundreds of metres in the air, looking down at things, mice, rabbits, foxes. They've been known to take on huge items of prey. Unfortunately, this one's been clipped by a car, and this happens quite often here in Australia, where they'll be on the side of the road eating a bit of roadkill, and people are just going too fast, and these guys take off and they get clipped. Because they got such a big wingspan, it does take them a bit to get moving. So unfortunately this one has been clipped. Looks like the wing might be broken, I'm not too sure. We're hundreds of kilometres from a vet right now, so taking it there, we don't have much room in the car. It's going to stress out the animal a lot, so it's not really a viable option. So unfortunately we're just going to have to put him back on his way. I don't think it's bad enough to warrant euthanizing it. We'll just have to hope that it does mend itself and that he can survive off small reptiles and rodents that are living in these bushes here. But I'll just walk him out a bit further away from the road so he's not so close to the road like he was, and hopefully he's got a bit of a chance at surviving. So yeah, that's a wedge-tailed eagle, and they get their name, climb me a little bit, from the shape of the tail. Obviously when it's stretched out, it is a big wedge shape. He's a very switched on animal, and you would not want to cop a bite from that thing. The beak on that guy is huge, and look at that. He is switched on. He's injured, but he's not to be messed with. Alright, walk him out a bit and set him on his way. How's this for an entrance into the heart of Australia? Beautiful sunset.
Pastel red to burgundy and spinifex to gold. Just come out of the mulga where the plains thread.
Grasshopper. This is the main diet for a lot of insect eaters like dragons, skinks, things like that. And this one looks like it's just managed to bounce away from an interaction with probably a small dragon or skink. So we'll let him go and keep searching. We're on the right track.
Dragon species like this central netted dragon feed primarily on insects. Here you can see this little guy sitting at the front of an ant's nest and picking them off as they slowly walk past him. This juvenile sand monitor makes short work of insects and small vertebrates. This species of monitor is well adapted to living in the sandy environments of Central Australia, spending the majority of their time foraging and digging burrows. Their extreme agility and speed has resulted in them having the nickname the racehorse goanna.
As the sun starts to set, there's a whole array of reptiles, insects, and even mammals that come out onto these sand dunes and start searching for a meal to eat at night. So we're going to get on the search as well. At night time, a lot of diurnal species like this dwarf bearded dragon here will seek refuge high up or off the ground in a tree just like this. These guys aren't nocturnal, they're active during the day, diurnal. So he needs to be able to get some shut-eye during night without having to worry about a big king brown or other elapids, even pythons out here, Woma pythons, will eat reptiles, and that's one of their big part of their diet. So by getting up in this tree, he's avoiding a lot of those ground dwelling predators. He's also not out in the open, he's camouflaged on the tree, so things like owls aren't going to spot him as easily. So he's tucked away, he's active during the day, comes out, eats insects, things like that. These guys do eat a bit of vegetation as well, but for now, he's nice and camouflaged, and we better keep on searching for some more species. Unfortunately, we haven't found a live king brown, but we've come across this dead guy, roadkill, king brown or mulga snake. Arguably Australia's largest venomous snake, largest venom yield, so they're quite toxic for that reason. They just pump you with a large amount of venom and your body can't handle it, but they are still very toxic. Get a close-up of his fangs here in a second. Fortunately, they do get hit quite a lot. They come out onto the roads at night and they get cleaned up by people going a bit too quick. Just like that. So we'll move him off the road so that no bird or anything comes down and tries to eat him and gets hit on the road. We'll move him off to the side so that doesn't happen. But hopefully we can get a live one soon. It's a shame. This is a thorny devil. We're searching really hard to find one of these. It's something I've been wanting to see since I was a kid. And this thing is so freshly dead. It would have to be this morning. He's just been clipped on the head. He's in such good condition. It's a shame to see one like this when you're trying so hard to find them. There's trucks going past. And that's exactly how these things get hit. They're not fast moving animals, they're slow moving. So they don't stand much chance against a big car. It's a bit gut wrenching, but hopefully we can find a live one of these guys because they're an absolute dream species to find. Put him off into the bushes so a bird can come down and grab him off the road. And we'll keep looking for another one. There's not too many species out here that just leave you absolutely speechless. And the top one for me is the thorny devil. Like this guy here. This is one of Australia's most iconic reptile species, if not the most iconic reptile species in Australia. The body shape, the colour, the thorns all over, they're like a made up creature. They're like someone just drew it and brought it into existence. It's incredible to see one, and I'm a bit speechless myself. Been wanting to see one of these guys since I can remember, since first getting into reptiles. You know, you hear about them, you see photos, but finally seeing one in real life is just incredible. They're a terrestrial species. They spend all their time on the ground. They're not a climbing species. Look at that walk he's doing. Wow. And what they spend most of their time doing is eating ants. They've got a pretty strict diet of small black ants. And they'll find a line of these ants, sit at that line and just pick ants off as they move through. So it's a pretty cruisy lifestyle. They're not chasing down prey or anything like that. Sort of like a sushi train, but with ants. And you can see on the back of his neck there, he's got 2 larger thorns than are on the rest of him. And it's a pretty similar look to his head. And the reason for that is, just get down a bit, is so that if a bird comes down to try and eat him, I don't know what bird would, but he'll tuck his head under, and the bird will go for that top bit, hopefully, thinking that that is his head, and that way his eyes stay nice and safe and protected. Wow. There's not a great deal known about him, to be honest. I think we might just sit and watch this guy for a bit, because it's not too often you get to see a thorny devil in the wild. We're in the heart of Australia, not quite at Alice Springs yet on our trip, and I was really hoping to find one of these guys. So it is just so special to spend a bit of time with one, watch him do his thing. We've seen him pick off a few ants. We're quite close to the road, you'll hear cars go past, I'm sure, in the video. But we sort of just watched him walk into the sandy spinifex area off the road, make sure he got in here. He was crossing the road when we saw him. And they do get cleaned up a lot. Being so slow moving compared to a monitor or a snake or something like that, they're easily cleaned up. They're hard to spot, they're small. You know, their colours do blend in with the gibber, the rocks, pretty well. So, I mean, if you're not looking for them, yeah, unfortunately. But we found one alive. Probably saved him because he was, yeah, as I said, crossing the road. So it's an absolute win for us, and we're wrapped. Watch him for a bit longer, watch him do his thing. Now, you're not allowed to touch these guys legally. It is illegal to touch these, but literally saw this thing pulled over and had to sprint to stop it. Car coming the other way. He was sitting in the wheel track of the other lane. We've pulled over in such a sketchy spot, but I managed to just grab him in time. It's another thorny devil. It's a juvenile. Completely different colour. Not sure why. Could be a bit cooler. We'll let him go. He was going this way, so we'll let him go. Hopefully he didn't get knocked, because he was just sitting there. Can't see any blood or anything. It might be a bit of a... Oh, see, there you go. Putting his head down. Oh, making the predator think that's his second head, just like I was saying with the other one. Look at that, perfect example. We'll let him go, he'll be stressed out. We're in such a bad spot on the side of the road. Whew. There's another thorny on the road. getting smaller and smaller. That guy's tiny. Have a look how well he blends in there. Look at that. Now one thing I didn't mention with the other one we saw is they've got these channels and grooves that move between those thorns or spikes, and when it rains, or you know, they're out early morning walking through grass and spinifex, the water that collects onto them apparently will funnel down actually to their mouth, and that's how they get a lot of the moisture. Anyway, we'll leave him on his way. Just put up at our camp for the night. It's a beautiful spot looking over Kings Creek Station, that sort of area. Gonna settle in, have a pretty cruisy night, maybe go out looking for some geckos and other nocturnal reptiles, but it's an amazing camp, amazing views and a really nice spot, so check it out. So this here, look at that. This is a marble velvet gecko. We're in the centre, so centre locality. Uluru is the genus. I think out here, could be wrong. This is a Uluru larica. These guys are big, quite big geckos, but I can get them, look at that. Quite big, but if you have a look at the profile of them, they've got quite a narrow head, and this habitat where he is right now is very, it's sort of crevices within the rock. And so what he does is he lives in these crevices throughout the day, and then at night, like now, he comes out and he goes on the hunt, and he'll be hunting moths, crickets, variety of insects. These guys are insectivores, but I believe they will also take on other smaller geckos as well. So they're definitely not to be messed with if you are a gecko. But we'll let him on his way, and we'll keep going. A few more things about him. Big eyes, nocturnal, sees in the night. Gecko, no eyelids, so he cleans his eyes with his tongue. They've got a big tongue, just like us, big fleshy tongue, and he'll clean his eyes with that. But we'll let him on his way, let him keep searching for those insects. Awesome, awesome find. Whoa, it's almost done me. Oh. Check out this little guy. This is a Stimson's python or children's python. I think they're all classed together now. In the Antarrhaza genus, these are some of the smallest snakes. Well, the pygmy python is the smallest python in the world. And these guys get around the metre mark, 3 foot. And this particular animal is absolutely gorgeous. And I was just cruising around this rock ledge and managed to come across him. And he's probably out hunting sleeping lizards, sleeping skinks. At this size, his diet would consist pretty much only of lizards. Off he goes into the rock crevice. They're a python, so no venom. These guys just have lots of teeth, and they'll grab the prey, constrict it, and get it down that way. Unlike a lot of the venomous snakes we get around here that, yeah, they have those fangs that inject venom into the prey. We're at camp right now. Turn this off. We're at camp right now. This has been an absolutely unbelievable day for the reptiles. This right here is one of the biggest bodied geckos that we get in Australia. And they are a mean looking son of a gun. It's a type of knobtail gecko. Centralian knobtail gecko or AMA. Wow. You can see why they call them the rough knobtails as well. I mean, look at the head on this guy. He's huge, he's mean. Look at him arcing up. He's saying back off. They've got such fire in them for such small animals. I mean, he is pretty big for a gecko. Look at that, tiny tail. That's his, he's not missing a tail. That's fully his tail right there. And you can see, if we look closely, we'll put in some shots, there is a tiny knob. I know it's funny to say, but there's a tiny knob on the end of the tail, and that's why it is still classified as a knobtail gecko. We're at camp right now. We were just collecting firewood, and this guy, as we're coming back from firewood, has been cruising along. I mean, you can't miss him. It's like a guinea pig. Here we go. He's got eyes just like that of a cat. Oh, there's our firewood. Because he only comes out at night. Look at that. Look at that stance. Wow. Incredible to see. Such a cool species. Alrighty. We'll let him go. Cruise on into the night. That's an awesome species to find. Look at him. Another species here in Australia that is just unreal to look at. We found 5 thorny devils today, all alive, all on the road. And now we've come to camp. We found 2 awesome geckos. We found a velvet, and now this prickly knobtail. These are species I've never seen in my life. But we've come out here, Central Australia, look at the sand, red sand. And we found some of the most amazing species in the country. What a trip. What a trip. Off you go, mate. So we've come across our first venomous snake here. This is a smaller leopard. It's in the Suda genus. This is what's called a little spotted snake. Do I need to turn my headlight off, Bill?
Just turn off, so? Yeah, turn off.
So he's just probably getting a bit of warmth off the road. The sun's just going down now as we speak. And he's probably getting that last bit of warmth. These guys are venomous. Don't think it's anything really to worry about for humans, but if you're a small skink, it's definitely going to do the job. These guys will feed a lot on reptiles and things like that. So it's a pretty cool snake. We'll sort of edge him off the road because we don't want anyone else running him over. But we're after some bigger snakes tonight, so we'll let him go. Pretty cool little guy. Alrighty, it's another venomous snake for us here. This is a curl snake. Give you a bit of a better look. This is quite a large specimen. This is definitely an adult. These guys sort of typically get only around your sort of 40 centimetre, 45 centimetres I think. These are, as I said, venomous, not too much of a health risk for humans, but another one that's going to be smashing skinks. So these guys are in the Suda genus, just like the little spotted snake we found. Here he goes. The Suda punctata, this is Suda. They do curl up a bit sometimes when threatened. Pretty varied, they've got a pretty decent range. I found these guys in Victoria as well, much smaller specimen than this guy. As I said, this is quite big. You can see, again, got those classic really big eyes, almost bulging out the side of the head. Another really cool find. We'll probably just let him go. I don't think there's too much else. Just wait until he moves off, get some shots for you guys, get some B-roll. So yeah, good find. Another cow snake on the road here. Have a look at the speed these things move at, jumping across the road to get out of the way. And then he's off into the grass. Pretty cool little snake to find out here, but not the mulga we're chasing. Now you might think this is a snake, but this is actually a type of legless lizard. This is called the Burton's legless lizard. I absolutely love these guys. They look like dragons when you get a close-up look at their head. So they've got no legs, obviously, but the way we can tell this is a lizard and not a snake is that they've got a big fleshy tongue, and they've also got ears. Snakes don't have ears, and snakes have a forked tongue. Most lizards won't have a forked tongue, although there are some, like the monitors. But yeah, these guys are actually their closest relative, closest related to the gecko. Pretty cool. And these guys are got a massive distribution, and they're extremely varied across that range. Get you a good look at him here. So this one's sort of grey with stripes all the way down it. They can be red, brown, white, no patterns, heavily patterned, you know. There's just so much variation. This guy's pretty cool. These only eat other lizards. So they're a hunter, they're a predator. They go out at night hunting lizards, small skinks, small geckos if they can get them. Have a look at the head on that. Wow, cool looking guy. At first glance you'd definitely think that's a snake. Another nocturnal species of snake. This is an orange naped snake. So these guys don't get very big, but they're an absolutely Stunning little snake. They've got quite a small head. And as I said, they are nocturnal, so they're coming out at night to hunt. This guy's definitely going to be on the hunt right now, searching around through the short grass. They are a mildly venomous species of snake, but again, not of much concern to us as humans. But you never know. Anything that's mildly venomous, you never know how you're going to react as a human, because even a bee that's, you know, going to do nothing for most people might kill someone if they're having a reaction to it. Quite a cool little snake to look at. We'll put in some close-ups of his head so you can get a nice look at it. So another name for these guys is the moon snake. It's probably to do with their nocturnal nature. And they pretty much exclusively eat skinks. So they come out at night and hunt those sleeping skinks. A lot of skinks are diurnal. They'll also wait under things, wait for the skinks to come and sleep under them. And then when the skinks come down to sleep, these guys are waiting for them, snatch them up. And off he goes. How's this? This is our second Uluru species of gecko, so the velvet geckos. This is Uluru cincta. Now we're in the Westmax. This is cincta. So this is quite a sizable male. Oh, he's good hand size. Oh, the light distracts him a bit. So you can see it's a male, that big bulge there, that's where his hemipenes are. Again, it's the same genus as the last one, so they're well adapted to these rocky outcrops, and they're pretty much designed to be able to wedge themselves into crevices, and they'll sit out like this guy was, waiting to ambush unsuspecting insects, other geckos. This guy's extremely healthy, but we don't want to disturb him too much with our lights, so we better let him on his way. You can see he's about to go into shed because his skin's quite opaque, it's quite clouded, and they will shed off their entire skin. Again, being a gecko, no eyelids, and these guys have those pads so they can climb vertical surfaces. He's going to find a gap. This wall is vertical and he's got absolutely zero issues climbing that. How cool is that? Uluru cincta. Now this seems to be a bit of a hot spot for them. The way this slope is positioned is that it's a west facing slope, and what that means is that this slope is getting the last bit of sun. It's getting the whole afternoon sun, evening sun, so that after dark this rock holds a lot of heat for a long time compared to an east facing slope or, well, any other facing slope. It's going to hold heat for the longest because it's getting that last bit of light, and that's why west facing slopes are typically the best for finding reptiles. Awesome find.